Good morning and welcome to Take Your Life Back Today show with me, Ralf Friedrichs. Today's topic, good episode, is 9 reasons why people use drugs and alcohol. What are those reasons? What gets people to want to ruin their lives, to possibly end their lives? What would make people turn to something that makes them escape from life? These are the 9 reasons why people use drugs and alcohol. But first, as always, I want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine that is Larry Geis from the Geis Academy. You can find him at 516-485-2741. That's 516-485-2741. Larry Geis from the Geis Academy can also be found on any internet search engine under www.odysseyconsultant.org. That's www.odysseyconsultant.org. That's Larry Geis from the Geis Academy. He is an addiction recovery coach as well as a life coach. He will help you from your beginning of your recovery all the way to whenever you decide you don't need to utilize his services anymore. He will walk with you hand in hand. He will concentrate on today and tomorrow. He will never ever, like myself, bring up your past. It is not a great idea to talk about people's past because it could cause a trigger or a relapse. So, call Larry Geis at the Geis Academy at 516-485-2741. That's 516-485-2741. Go to the search engine under www.odysseyconsultant.org and tell Larry that you heard about him on the Take Your Life Back Today show with Ralf Friedrichs. Give a shout out to Global Eyeglasses, where they are focused on saving you money. Folks, this was a record-breaking month for me. I had approximately 130 people in my audience text and call me about frames, about lenses, about photochromatics transitions, polarization, progressives, high index, anti-reflecting coating, and scratch coating. You, my audience, had so many questions, and so many people purchased directly with the help of myself at globaleyeglasses.com. They are focused on saving money, and money you will save when you shop there. They have over 1,200 frames. They have every type of lens that you need. If you need prism, they can do it. If you want mirror coated for the great summer weather for the beaches, they can do it. If you need help, like so many of you have already, text me at 631-599-0218 or call me at 844-405-HELP. Let me help you with your eyeglasses at globaleyeglasses.com. They are focused on saving you money. Folks, today's episode, 9 reasons why people use drugs and alcohol. The reasons why people use drugs, a quick mention sidebar that I want to bring up. Many people have never experienced addiction of any sort, no matter what the addiction might have been. For these people, it can be very hard to understand and grasp the logic behind drug abuse. But with drug use getting more and more prevalent in America, it's now common for people to dig deeper and look for the reasons why people use drugs and alcohol. This is not meant to be a complete list, nor is it meant to be medical advice. But I feel this segment can shed some light for addicts or family members of addicts dealing with this burning question of why do people turn to drugs and alcohol. Can someone please explain to me why people do that and turn to drugs and alcohol? This list, this segment that I compiled for you will show you what is involved in drugs and alcohol. Many times I ask them and potted to get answers from other people, but this list will definitely help you. Therefore, an addict may not fully understand what a sober can, and that's why this list is so very important. Number 1 is people suffering from anxiety, bipolar disorder, depression, or mental illness use drugs and alcohol to ease their suffering. Mental illness is such a burden for some people, they will try just about anything to relieve that pain. Drugs or alcohol can temporarily make the person feel normal again, like they remember feeling in the past. Mental illness is scary for the individual experience it, so they are afraid to go to the doctor and or even ask a family member for help and instead turn to drugs and alcohol thinking they are solving the problem. But we all know better than that. Number 2 on my list is people see family members, friends, role models, or entertainers using drugs and rationalize it as it is okay because they do it. And that comes right back down to what I always talk about. Practice what you preach. Also, lead by example. Don't use drugs and alcohol, profanity, physical abuse in front of your children or your grandchildren because they will follow. As teenagers and young adults, it's very easy to think that drug and alcohol use can be handled and controlled, especially if they see others within their own family, like their parents, using it. It can become easy to rationalize like this. Hey, my friends, my father, my mother has been doing this for a couple years and it seems fine to me. Entertainment and music is full of drug reference and can add rationalization that drug use is okay to use. Individuals with a family history of drug and alcohol abuse are far more likely to develop an addiction than an individual with no family background with drugs and alcohol. Number 3 on my list, people become bored and think drugs will help entertain them. Boredom is a big factor in drug abuse in teens and young adults. People in this age bracket generally don't have bills, jobs, and all the stresses that go along with adulthood. So it's easy to become bored and want to try something new, something exciting. Number 4 on my list, people think drugs will help relieve stress. Our modern world is full of new strains and stresses that humans have never experienced in the past. Although many things in life are now easier than ever, the burdens are also very high with a higher cost. Simply having a family, maintaining a household, and holding a job is a huge stress factor or factors. Some drugs are viewed as means of relaxation, a way to calm the storm in your mind. Although drugs can be effective at doing that, they can be a serious side to them, like addiction. Number 5, people figure if drug prescribed by a doctor, it must be okay. It is easy for an individual to rationalize using a drug because it came from a doctor. The thinking goes like this: it is prescribed to someone I know for the same problem that I am having, so it makes sense and it should work for me. The dangerous part about this rationalization is that it can lead to addiction. Especially dangerous is if you start mixing drugs. It could lead to overdose, unintended side effects, or dependency. Number 6, people get physically injured and unintentionally get hooked and to the prescribed drugs. The people at risk for this physical labors are physical laborers, elderly, and anyone who has pre-existing injuries. Some people are born with chronic pain due to deformities. Others get injured. Doctors then prescribe drugs for what they intend for the person can relieve some of the pain, but the person then builds up a dependency. Especially if the drug is making them feel all better, they will become addicted. They rationalize that it must be okay to keep taking this drug because it makes me feel better, which can result to dependency. Number 7, people use drugs to cover painful memories in their past. Many people go through extremely traumatic events in their life, many times as children, and turn to drugs that may recover bad memories. Children are extremely susceptible to trauma, whether physically or emotionally, and those feelings can haunt them to adulthood. These people could benefit from working with psychologists to help repair their damaged minds. Drugs usually only deepen the issue. Alcohol usually deepen the issue. Number 8, people think drugs will help them fit in. When hanging out with friends, it is easy for people to want to fit in and seem like no one will even notice. They become one of the crew, one of the members. If others are drinking or doing drugs, it's very likely for someone to fall into that trap. Peer pressure can be tremendous force, causing someone to try things that they normally would never try. Number 9, people chase the high they once experienced. Ask anyone who has tried drugs, and they will tell you that it is one of the best feelings of their life. The highs from the drugs are so much more extreme than regular everyday joys, because most of drugs that people take have pleasure sensors, and that kind of relates to your brain. Once a person feels this extreme pleasure, it is common for the person to become hooked on the drug, simply chasing the initial high that they once felt. As we all know, this is a vicious cycle that is extremely difficult to break. The highs are equally as powerful as the lows felt when coming off the drugs. Folks, these are 9 reasons why people use drugs and alcohol. Let's do a recap. We know that number 1, that people use drugs and alcohol is because they're suffering from anxiety, bipolar disorder, depression, or many other mental disorders. So they start using drugs and alcohol. Mental illness is such a burden for some people, they will try just about anything to relieve the pain. Drugs or alcohol can temporarily make that person feel normal again, like they remember feeling in the past, and that would make them turn to drugs and alcohol. Number 2 on the list. People see family members, friends, role models, or entertainers using drugs, and they think it's okay to utilize that. This is why it's so important that I keep telling you folks that monkey see, monkey do mentality. You, the hero, you, the role model at home, when you drink in front of your children, expect your children to drink. When you smoke in front of your children, it's okay, expect them to do it. When you use profanity in front of them, you'll hear them using it. How dare you expect them not to do what they see daily you doing? They look through their tiny little beady eyes at you and see a role model. They see the hero of their life. So when they see their hero, their role model, drinking, drugging, smoking, and using profanity, what do you think they will do? Let today be the first day that you start setting a new example. Let today be the day that you will stop drinking and smoking and using profanity in front of your loved ones, in front of your young ones. Lead by example. If you don't ever want them to smoke and you don't want them to drink or use profanity, I'll be damned if I don't tell you right now, you, that's right, you need to stop using drugs, alcohol, and profanity. They have the monkey see, monkey do mentality. Just stop it. If you need to do it on the outside of your home. Number 3, people become bored and think drugs will help to entertain them. Boredom is a big factor of drug abuse in teens and young adults. People in this age bracket generally don't have bills, jobs, and all the stresses that come with life. As you become an adult and you have all these responsibilities, things start changing. But when you're young like this, you get bored very easily. And nothing like peer pressure helping that. They turn to drugs, they turn to alcohol. But that's on the outside. Don't let them see it within your home, under your roof. Number 4, people think drugs and alcohol will help relieve stress. Our modern world is full of new strains and stresses that humans have never experienced in the past. Although many things in life are now easier than ever, the burdens are also very high and come with a high cost. Simply having a family, maintaining a household, and holding a job are huge stress factors. Some drugs are viewed as means of relaxation, a way to calm the storm in your mind. Although drugs can be very effective at doing this, they can be very serious side effects to all drugs. Number 5, people figure if a drug prescribed by a doctor, it's okay. So if the doctor gives you pain medications because you just broke your leg, you broke your arm, you just had surgery, it is not okay to continuously use that after the injury has healed. Just because it makes you feel good doesn't make it a good drug. Because if you want to use that analogy, you can utilize any other drug, any alcohol that will make you feel good. But the highs and the lows come with a huge cost factor. You might pay simply with a hangover. You might pay a little deeper with losing relationships. You might pay even deeper with losing family members, house, belongings, or you might pay the deepest with your life. Number 6, people get physically injured and unintentionally get hooked on prescribed drugs. The athletes, whether they're in in high school or professional, continuously use painkillers even after those injuries are gone. They need to stop doing that. People at risk for the physical laborers are physically laborers, elderly, and anyone with pre-existing injuries. They are at risk of utilizing and abusing pain medication. Number 7, people use drugs to cover painful memories in their past. Many people go through extremely traumatic events in their life, many times as children, and turn to drugs to overcome those horrible memories. Children are extremely susceptible to trauma, whether physically or emotionally, and those feelings can haunt them into adulthood. These people could benefit from working with psychologists to help repair the damaged mind. Drugs usually only deepen the issue. Number 8, people think drugs will help them fit in. Peer pressure is a terrible thing, my friends. When hanging out with friends, it's easy for people to want to fit in and seem like one of the crew, one of the gang, the St. Elmo's fire of the 21st century. It's very likely for someone to fall into that trap, and we've all probably been there. We've done it, but we need to learn to go past it. Peer pressure can be tremendous force causing someone to try things that they normally wouldn't do. To try that crack, that coke, that heroin, which here on Long Island is ridiculously high rate of deaths right now. Number 9, people chase the high only to experience it over and over again, and it all started with that initial one time. It felt so good that everybody that tried it said, wow, this feels good. Let me continue doing it. And then one joint becomes 3 joints, becomes 5 joints. A little bit of crack becomes more crack. A little bit of alcohol becomes more alcohol. Now you're dependent. You need it. You're stealing from your own home to support your habits. You're losing your relationships. You're losing your family members, your children. You're losing your mind. And if you continue on that path, folks, let it be known, you're going to lose your life. There is no escaping alcoholism and drug addiction other than seeking help. And the first step is for you to stop denying you have a problem. Today is the day, my friends, for you to say, I have a problem. I need help. There is no shame in seeking help. You can try your local AA, your NA, rehab center, inpatient or outpatient, church, family members, addiction recovery coaches like Larry Geis, 516-485-2741. These are all crutches for you to lean on. But you know, folks, to be quite honest, the biggest crutch for you to lean on, the biggest factor of seeking recovery in your new life, if you want to become sober, is you need to turn to God. Only God can give you guidance and direction. Remember this, folks. It is God who created you. It is God who stands by you through good and bad daily. The minute you say, God, I cannot handle my life on my own, and you ask God to guide and direct you, your life will start changing. In conjunction with eliminating alcohol and drug abuse and turning to God, you'll see physical changes like the puffiness in the eyes will start disappearing. Your skin color will come back again. You'll see changes mentally. You can actually remember things from last night, last week. You'll remember your kid's birthday, your parents' birthday, your anniversary. These are all things that you've forgotten because the drugs and alcohol were clouding your mind. You'll see financial changes. Now, the money that you're using for drugs and alcohol, you can utilize for paying your bills. So you don't lose your house. You don't have your electric cut off. You can buy presents for your children. Now that you remember your anniversary, you can buy your wife or your husband an anniversary present. You'll see changes in your relationships with family and friends that maybe have written you off because of your deceptions due to your alcohol and drug abuse. Hopefully, those relationships can mend. 9 out of 10 times it's never too late, especially if those people loved you. If you show with action, not words, but with actions, that you have truly changed, those relationships should mend. And here's the biggest one. You'll see changes spiritually. You'll wake up knowing that God is within you, that God is beside you. You'll wake up knowing that by helping others, you're helping yourself. This is what I do. These videos, my websites, by helping you, I help myself. This is my rehab, folks. Don't you get it? This is my rehab. 24/7. Every single day. There's not one day I don't do something related to sobriety. This is the difference between what I've been saying now for a few years, between AA and a method that I utilize, and there are thousands of methods, but this is the one I utilize. My method compared to AA is that this is 24/7. AA from 6 to 7:15, 6 to 7:30, or from 4 to 5:30. That is definitely not good enough. I need to roll up my sleeves and dive directly into sobriety to make it work for me. And I am here to help you make it work for you with these episodes, these videos, with my radio, with my websites. This is what I do. This is what you can do. Karma is very important, folks. When you help someone, you help yourself. And I do believe everything comes around again. Be God's assistant by being good to others. When you're good to others, good things will happen to you. Remember, folks, that a sober today guarantees you a better tomorrow. Give me 24 hours each and every day, and I will give you, in return, sobriety. But you have to be committed to today's 24 hours, and then tomorrow morning be committed again. Don't say, I'm going to stop drinking for a week. That's too much to shoot for. Shoot for tomorrow morning. And if you start thinking up here that it's possible, and it's going to be a positive thought up here, positive results will happen. Teach your children to say no to drugs and alcohol. Become the role model, the hero that they look through their little eyes. Practice what you preach and lead by example. Folks, I hope to God that each and every one of my audience has a great day today. But I really hope and I pray that each one of my audience, no matter where you're sitting and watching me, has a sober day today. And may God bless you.